Now I'd like to talk about my preparations for the coming economic collapse. I have no preparations, and that's deliberate because of the simple fact that there's no way you're going to get 7.2 billion people to prepare for economic collapse, especially since there are already people living in economic collapse right now. If everyone on Earth did prepare for economic collapse, was able to prepare for economic collapse, there would be no economic collapse. And you know what the preppers are always saying? You know what? If you're gonna prepare for the upcoming economic collapse, you better buy gold, get guns, stock up on food, and live off the grid and stuff. That's not going to work. I mean, that is so nonsensical. I mean, what I'm saying is that it might work for the preppers, but you can't get 320 million Americans to do all that at the same time. I mean, like the whole problem with the economic collapse is that there will be massive scarcity, way more than there already is. And for example, if everybody in the U.S. bought gold, would that somehow solve the problem, lessen the economic collapse? I mean, what would happen? I mean, if you took all the gold in the U.S. and divided it equally among 320 million people, how much gold would everybody have? I don't know, what, a couple of ounces? I mean, I haven't done the math, but I don't think that it would be much gold. So the whole problem is that there's not enough. There's no way you're going to get everybody to prepare for economic collapse. But yet the preppers keep saying you have to prepare for economic collapse, as if everybody can prepare for it. It's impossible. And besides, the coming economic collapse is going to be so bad it'll make the Great Depression look like an economic recovery. So the short answer is that when economic collapse happens, I'm going to be fucked, and so will most of the world's people. And let's see, what else is there? Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is that it's mathematically impossible for everybody to prepare for it. And at the same time, even though I'm aware that economic collapse is going to happen, I don't want it to happen, but it's going to happen anyway. Yeah, that's how it always is. The thing is that with the current monetary system being the farce that it is, economic collapse is going to happen sooner or later. I mean, fractional reserve banking, interest rates, massive global debt. That's like the ultimate Ponzi scheme, as some people have put it. I mean, there's more debt in the economy than there is money in the economy. So it is practically impossible to pay off all that debt, which I've mentioned before. And I'm not the only one who mentioned it before, too. But as long as there's going to be economic collapse, I would like that collapse to be mitigated as much as possible. Which brings me to the issue of asteroid mining again. Glory, yeah. Let's see. I remember hearing somebody on some video some years ago say that there's a race between getting into space and economic collapse. And what that means is that asteroid mining, in principle, could mitigate economic collapse. At least that's the message I seem to be getting. I did mention this before. I'll mention it again. Peter Diamandis, one of the co-founders of Planetary Resources, seems to also support a resource-based economy. He really hasn't said that in so many words, but he said a lot of pro-RBE things in one video I've seen him in, or at least a couple of videos. And because he both supports asteroid mining and supposedly the resource-based economy, I keep getting the impression that he is actually going to find a way to get asteroid mining, to use asteroid mining to mitigate the coming economic collapse, or maybe even prevent it altogether if that's possible. And then there's the problem of people saying asteroid mining is impossible. It's possible because there's 50 years of space science to back it up. At least that's my view of it. And needless to say, the people who say that asteroid mining is impossible don't know the difference between a light year and a light year. So it reminds me of something that Jacques Fresco is always saying. So you think people ever land on the moon? Never, not in 1,000 years. And then he'll say, if you're so sure about that, do you know anything about rockets and space travel? Nope. Then how do you know people can't get to the moon or Mars or wherever? Yeah. I think I'm getting close to the end of this video. At least that's what my notes indicate. So I'm going to again say, yes, there will be economic collapse because the monetary system can't sustain itself. And there's a possibility that asteroid mining might mitigate it. And I want to see mitigation of this coming collapse as much as possible because I don't want to live through that crap. Because if it's going to be worse than the Great Depression, yeah, fuck that shit. And what would really be great is if the resulting results, the aftermath of the economic collapse, is a resource-based economy. If that's the case, then it'll be worth going through economic collapse. If the result is a resource-based economy. After a while, Gomer Pyle.